Now, I haven't really broken down one of these episodes of Marvel What If yet, so I don't really know what to say for this intro, but if you enjoy this, at the end of this video, after watching, if you enjoy my content, do me a massive favor and slap a like on it. The like goal for this video is going to be 69. Get it? Now, I did mention it in the intro. I kind of, I forgot. But basically, I'm going to mention 10 things. No, scratch that. 9 things that I noticed from this episode that you may or may not have. And then I'm also going to mention a slight theory that I think may be plausible or more plausible since the events of this episode. Now, to start out with, instead of injuring Doctor Strange's hands, which obviously in the Doctor Strange movie, that's what causes him to become the Doctor. He seeks out, further types of medicine to repair the traumatic injuries that he has to his hands in order to start performing surgery again. He is a surgeon. And one thing that's sort of like in real life anyway, one thing that people sort of associate with surgeons is that they have massive egos. They constantly save people's lives, rightfully so. That comes with a bunch of pride. So obviously, Doctor Strange, at many faults in this story, becomes victim to his pride. Not necessarily in this episode of What If, but just throughout all of Marvel. So instead of injuring his hands, he repeatedly loses Christine Palmer, the love of his life. And I thought that was kind of an interesting parallel, because in the movie, he kind of isn't like exactly with her. Things aren't on the best terms, but he hasn't actually lost her all the way. So maybe that's sort of foreshadowing for in Multiverse of Madness when we finally get a Doctor Strange 2. Now, say what you will about the plot and pacing of Doctor Strange, I think the visuals is probably the best in any Marvel movie, next to like Thor Ragnarok and really, all of the Guardians of the Galaxies. But basically, I think that could be hinting at if maybe something were to happen to Christine Palmer in future Doctor Strange movies or in, any movie that Doctor Strange is in. Maybe this is what could help turn him to the dark side. The repeated, scene of her dying, that little montage, it reminded me of Edge of Tomorrow. You all let me know what you think about that down below in the comment section. Did it make you as sad as it did for me? And also, just as a side note, a slight critique, I have noticed that through watching these episodes, the voice acting is kind of hit or miss. I think it would be good to maybe, if they do continue to do this, to bring in some of the voice actors of the actual, real life counterparts, but also hire like established voice actors. I think, Benedict Cumberbatch in particular, when he's like yelling, I kind of loses him. It takes me out of the episode a little bit from the voice acting. I mean, what do I know? I'm just a fucking YouTuber. But anyway, another thing I noticed is that when the Ancient One shows up and tells him to stop, he's like, nah. He actually teleports himself back in time to the library of, let me try to say this, Caligostri. I didn't spell that right, so I'm trying to think of how it's actually pronounced on the TV show, which is Caligostri. He gets teleported to there, and I think this is something that we're going to definitely see in future Doctor Strange movies. It just makes sense that he has to go to sort of the source of a lot of the power that he seeks when he wants to do something that's kind of forbidden. And another thing I noticed is that when he first tries to absorb Cthulhu, which that's pretty much, if you're unaware, it's like an H.P. Lovecraft creature, that it was, they did a good rendition of it. It's obviously inspired on the H.P. Lovecraft TV show Lovecraft Country, but that monster that he absorbs and then later absorbs, it still struggles after he's gained a bunch of power to do it. That's, I think, what ultimately pushes him over the edge and start influencing him to sort of go beyond that point of no return. But after he tries to absorb Cthulhu but can't, Bo Bang warns him to let go, but Strange is like, nah, and then he decides to, sort of steal what he needs and then proceeds to, kill a gnome is the first creature that he actually absorbs. And I'm kind of jumping around a bit here, but reading off my notes. This is the part where the Watcher almost breaks the fourth wall, where he sort of yells out to Doctor Strange, like, no. And then, obviously later on in the episode, he actually talks with him at the very end. And then another thing I noticed was that Strange absorbs basically Noah's Ark. He absorbs so many different creatures. I'm pretty sure one of them has either been seen in a Marvel movie before, some sort of Marvel content, or making another appearance. Specifically, I want to touch back on Cthulhu. Not really say that much more on it, but I think that creature could make an appearance in future Doctor Strange movies. Another thing I noticed is that the reference to Strange's line in the No Way Home trailer is similar to what Bo Bang tells him, which is basically you're living two separate lives, and that's exactly what Doctor Strange tells Peter Parker. So is this like sort of foreshadowing to basically, just I think it. I don't really think it's foreshadowing anything. I think it's mostly just a call out, and like basically Doctor Strange has sort of heard this before. And then at this point in the episode, Doctor Strange ends up getting split in two and sort of faces off with himself. I thought this was pretty neat visuals. It's an interesting animation choice that Marvel did. They chose like this 3D sort of like it kind of looks almost like video gamey. I'm more so used to anime myself. There was a few animes that chose to do like a 3D version of the manga, and I wasn't really down for it. Marvel did something right in this. It looks weird at certain points, like when it's mainly just close-ups of the face, but when the characters are battling and not like walking slow, it actually looks really good. And I think this was probably one of the best visual scenes, at least in this series. And then this leads me into the theory that I wanted to mention, which is that in Spider-Man No Way Home, Doctor Strange is actually a variant, and that variant becomes Mephisto from doing exactly what we saw in this episode. That's why everybody, if you're watching my video and you normally, you're subscribed, you normally watch my Game of Thrones, my House of the Dragon videos, you may not be aware, but Benedict Cumberbatch, Jeffrey Wright, I think the creator of the show, said that this episode in particular was their favorite, and that it has greater thing that may tie into the rest of Marvel. And that's the thing that I think may happen to. We're getting variants of Spider-Man for this movie. We've gotten pictures that were leaked on Twitter that were taken down by DMCA notices from Sony. So there's definitely going to be variants of Spider-Man. We've saw a million variants of Loki. Marvel has been force-feeding us the idea of a multiverse for several movies now. It is fucking going down in Spider-Man. Really, we could say Multiverse of Madness because it's literally in the title. But what I am getting at here is I think that this episode is going to just light up the internet with the Mephisto. At least if they take it the way I did, which is that in No Way Home, to clarify, in No Way Home, Doctor Strange is going to, or at least the version we see interacting with Peter, is evil. He's the same version that we saw absorb all of those creatures in What If. Not the exact same like counterpart, but that's more or less what he is. And he's maybe trapped the actual version of Doctor Strange in a mirror dimension temporarily. Maybe he had to sort of split himself in two and wasn't able to destroy his other half, or he'll potentially destroy himself. One thing I think this is super weak, but his hairstyle is a little bit different. I could have just changed his wig for this movie, but normally Doctor Strange has a bit of like an S-curl Superman type fucking thing that hangs down on his forehead, and that's not present in the clips that we see in No Way Home. Or in the No Way Home trailer. So I don't know. Let me know what you all think down below. Do you think we're going to see the evil version of Doctor Strange, and instead of actually getting a MCU cinematic version of Mephisto, instead of getting that, we're just going to get a Doctor Strange, evil Doctor Strange, and that will sort of serve as Mephisto. He's holding a cup that says, "Oh, for fuck's sake," right? So maybe this is that sort of like super evolved version of Doctor Strange Supreme. Then we get a bigger, more drawn out, just sort of wrapping this video up, more drawn out version, and I don't really need to reiterate everything. I'm just sort of mentioning what I noticed. You watched the episode too. You're not an idiot. You're watching this video. You saw what happened. I'm more so recapping my favorite moments. But, we get that big-ass Strange versus Stranger battle scene, and, ultimately Doctor Strange is the winner, I guess. What the fuck is up with the creme brulee? Is there some Marvel reference that I'm missing there? It kept being mentioned. Obviously, I've had it before. It tastes good, but why is Christine Palmer asking for it so much? I don't know. You all let me know down below in the comment section. And then lastly, Strange becomes Cthulhu and basically destroys the world. Like when Christine wakes up, she realizes that she's being held by someone who's not Doctor Strange, and he looks exactly like a Cthulhu incarnate. It's the octopus creature that he absorbs isn't exactly Cthulhu, but sort of with H.P. Lovecraftian mythos, they sort of mix and like breed. And this version of Doctor Strange is like insanely powerful, and this could be hinting at a more evil version of him in the future. We've got to have one of the Marvel Avengers, one of the Marvel superheroes become a villain. That's the only way to top Thanos, is if the villains come from within. Now, obviously, there's rumors of Wanda and Scarlet Witch being the main villain going forth for the next Avengers movie. So it would just make sense if they start laying the groundwork, where maybe her and Doctor Strange team up. All right, well, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please do me a massive favor, and if you like this, slap a like on this video. Like goal is going to be 43. Oh, I mean 69.